Trump backs Sessions. More U.S. strikes in Yemen. I'm Evan Haining. The White House is standing by Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who has recused himself from all investigations into Russian meddling in the presidential election. Correspondent Bob Costantini.
Late at night, President Trump tweeted strong support for Jeff Sessions, whom he called an honest man. He did not say anything wrong. He could have stated his response more accurately, but it was clearly not intentional.
And quote the president's words. The U.S. has carried out another wave of precision strikes in Yemen targeting al-Qaeda. And correspondent Barbara Starr reports the recent raid in which a Navy SEAL was killed has reportedly yielded important data.
They got intelligence that is leading them to more information about al-Qaeda's safe havens in Yemen. That may lead them to more raids.
Experts are once again trying to clear the historic Syrian town of Palmyra of landmines. The ancient town is a world treasure. Last spring it took weeks to clear hundreds of mines there. I'm Evan Haining. Zimbabwe has declared a natural disaster after months of flooding. Correspondent Sierra Crawford has details.
The southern African country is asking international donors for $100 million to help those affected by floodwaters, which have killed 246 people and left nearly 2,000 homeless since December.
A right-wing member of the EU went on a rant against paying women equal wages at a near-empty European Parliament today. Janusz Korwin-Mikke, who is Polish, explained why women should get low pay until he was interrupted.
And of course, women must earn less than men because they are weaker, they are smaller, they are less intelligent, and they must earn less. That's all.
Podamos estar representando a los ciudadanos en igualdad de condiciones con usted.
Well, there is probably no need to translate what she said. As you can hear, her tone is crystal clear. Korwin-Mikke has previously been fined for debating using racist terms, the independent newspaper reports. I'm Evan Haining.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-860-6565. That's 1-800-860-6565. 1-800-860-6565. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Californians have been carefully watching the Oroville Dam during recent heavy rains. Correspondent Jerry O'Lennon says a prospector has his eye on it, too.
There are nuggets embedded in that bedrock.
Bob Van Camp, a.k.a. Digger Bob, has been prospecting for gold for 20 years. He's certain that the erosion caused by the damaged Oroville Dam spillway is creating a golden opportunity.
I see a lot of gold potential there.
But how much?
Pounds and pounds.
Van Camp knows his trade. He goes out at least once per week and usually finds what he's looking for.
Because gold is so heavy, it always seeks the lowest area. It constantly wants to go down.
Down where crews are currently cleaning up debris and perhaps a whole lot more.
On-field workouts start today at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. Team execs and scouts will be watching running backs, offensive linemen, and place kickers work out today. I'm Evan Haining.
And I'm Pat George. Your traffic and weather's next. If someone else's negligence has caused you to suffer a brain injury, the trial lawyers of Pop and Gipe, a personal injury law firm, can help you out. Call them at 727-461-4357 or log on to popandgipe.com. If you're coming out of the West Chase area, you're not going to like this, but Sheldon Road southbound, it is shut down, closed between Waters and Limebaugh. Now they're telling us Waters and Hillsborough completely closed. Utility wires down at Waters. Alternate on this, of course, stay on the Veterans if you can. Overturned vehicle, Brian Derry, westbound between Belcher and Starkey. And an accident in St. Pete, Central Avenue in Pasadena. Busy Friday morning. This report is brought to you by the Florida DOT. Alert today, Florida.com. In Florida, 1 in every 4 traffic accident fatalities involve a pedestrian or bicyclist. Drivers, stop for pedestrians and give bicyclists at least 3 feet. Pedestrians, come on, use the crosswalk. Bicyclists, obey traffic laws. Alert today, alive tomorrow. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's about your life and your money. It's the Dave Ramsey Show.
That's what happens when people start getting out of debt. They go, I need some more money. I can get out of debt faster if I had more money. And how do I get more money? I work extra. I take this other job, and all of a sudden, boom, they start getting promotions too. It's the weirdest thing. It's what Earl Nightingale used to say. You become what you think about. And I'm not suggesting that you worship at the altar of money, but sometimes it's a simple math problem, folks. You need to bring in more, clean up the mess that you have.
Dave Ramsey, weekdays 2 to 5 on Money Talk 1010, Tampa Bay's business address. Tampa Bay's business address is Money Talk 1010 AM and available on HD at 99.5 HD2. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Money Talk 1010 AM, Tampa Bay's business address.
The program that follows has been paid for by Katrina Madewell. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of Katrina Madewell and are not those of Beasley Media Group, this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers.
Welcome to Tampa Home Talk with your host, native Tampa real estate girl, Katrina Madewell, a full-time, passionate, out-of-the-box thinker, love for home ownership kind of realtor with over 21 years of combined mortgage and real estate experience. Tune in every week at this time for expert advice on everything you need to know about home ownership, finance, maintaining great credit, building wealth, and making your everyday life better, and how you can be financially successful today and tomorrow. Remember, love where you live or let Katrina fix it. Now, here's your host of Tampa Home Talk, Katrina Madewell.
Welcome to Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. Thanks for joining us this Friday morning. We're glad you're here, and if it's your first time ever catching the show, the mission of our show is to help you keep and maintain great credit, live within your means, and build wealth. We love to talk about stuff in and around the real estate space as well, and there's a lot of ways to catch us. So not only can you stream live on the app on Money Talk 1010. You can catch us on the AM dial, 1010 AM. We're also on 99.5 HD2, that's second signal, if you have HD radio in your car. And we're also on our newest addition to the Money Talk lineup, 103.1 FM. And so we've gotten some great audience in participation and like new people coming in because of the FM signal. So we're glad you're here. Our mission of our show here at Tampa Home Talk is, again, like I said, to help you keep and maintain great credit, live within your means, build wealth. We love to talk about a lot of stuff in and around the real estate space. So you'll find that a lot of our guests will vary on everything from real estate topics to wealth to credit to everything in between. And the goal of our show is just to bring you value every single week and just make it a fantastic show and give you some information that you can use or something you can push along to someone else that may be able to as well. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our show partner for today's show, Mr. Corey Richardson with Safeline Home Inspections. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Katrina.
So glad to have you. And Corey was a little nervous coming on this morning, but I think he's going to do just great. Don't you, Lisa? I do.
Awesome.
So we're going to have a good time. We really have fun. And, we hear this a lot, Corey, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but people say, oh, I'm nervous. And then as the show starts going through, you start having fun. And people are like, that's it. It's over. It's been an hour already. So we get that a lot. Mm-hmm. But the topic for today's show is home inspections, why you need one and why it matters.
It's a good topic.
You have a little bit to say about that, don't you?
I think so.
So let's talk about home inspections, and I'll give you my perspective on it as a real estate agent, and I think it's really important. And one of the things I love about Corey, even before he became a show partner, we got together, we had lunch, we talked to figure out if we were a good match to do business, right? And that's always good in any business you're in. But the one thing that you said to me that you probably don't even remember that you said is, there's a lot of agents out there that are looking for a home inspector that will brush some stuff under the rug. And you and I talked about that, and he's like, so, what's your take on it? How is it? And you didn't really say it like that. I forget how you asked me, but we are one of the ones that we want to know what's in that home inspection. And so sometimes when homeowners get these, they're a little bit scary, right? Because there's a whole bunch of information in there, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But the goal behind the home inspection is not to scare you, but to educate you and look for anything major, anything wrong. And from my perspective, a home inspection is an insurance policy to make sure you get a good house.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it.
And so with that being said, we very much want you to find every single thing you can. Now, with that being said, home inspections are not foolproof. They're not.
No,
you can only see what you can see. Even though you are getting on the roof, you're crawling in the attic, If there's a crawl space, you're going underneath. You're checking all the outlets. You're doing all of these things that the typical homeowner is not going to know where to look for. You have like a checklist, right? Like a pilot. Any pilot has a great checklist
Yes, yeah.
before they begin takeoff, and you're going to go through that list and see anything that you can see. But there's still things behind the wall that you might not be able to see.
Yes, yeah. We actually call it a standards of practice. I use the FOBI standards of practice, which is basically...
So what does FOBI stand for? Because that's an acronym, right?
Yeah, FOBI stands for Florida Association of Building Inspectors.
Is that optional or required?
It is not required for a home inspector to be a part of an association, but almost like any industry, if you are a part of association, it helps you to continue to be educated.
There's a lot to be said for continuing education, especially when it's not required and it's something that you're doing on your own. I think that's very, very important in a home inspector that you would hire.
Absolutely.
So continue your thought, FOBI.
So FOBI, they have a minimum standards of practice, which is basically whenever you're doing a home inspection, this is the minimum that you're required to inspect. And the list is pretty extensive.
How many points are on that, out of curiosity? You ever counted them?
If I had to count, I would say over 300. My inspections are probably a little bit on the small side, would be 20 pages.
Okay. But these are interesting, and I don't know if you brought a sample, and maybe we can get into that if we have a little time later in the show. But some of the things that, I wanted to talk about is what the inspection covers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to a property, what are some of the first things that you do? And you guys are so prompt, by the way, and I just want to say thank you, because sometimes we are just, we're spread thin, we're cut a little short, and I hate being late. I really do. Much, regardless of what my husband thinks, I hate being late. So I really appreciate when you guys are on time, and I do my best to make sure that I'm there promptly as well. But what are some of the first things that you do? And I know a lot of times you're waiting on the agents to show up, right?
So yeah, the first thing that I do is I just kind of walk around the property and just try to get familiar with how the rooms, how it's set up, what type of house it is. If it's a single story, 2 stories, does it have a crawl space? Am I going to be able to get into the attic? Is the roof walkable? There's a whole bunch of questions kind of go through my head, but I'm just trying to get familiar with the property. And then I start the inspection usually after the client gets there, and then I'll tell them, it's like, hey, you can either do what you want to do during the home inspection, or you can feel free to follow me around as I go through it, and I can explain you to exactly what I'm doing when I'm looking at something.
Now, some home inspectors hate that, and it drives them crazy because it does slow you guys down a little bit.
It does.
So what I recommend usually when our customers are there is I say, stay out of the home inspector's way just temporarily. Let him kind of finish up, and then at the end of the home inspection, generally, we're going to do a walk through the property.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely agree with that, too. I figure it works both ways, because one, the clients are paying me directly, so they're paying me for my time, and my part of my job is to educate them. So as far as the time frame, I don't have a time frame of how long an inspection to take. It'll take as long as it takes until it's done. Now, if the client is there and they're in a hurry, then I would recommend, okay, then save it till the end, and I'll show you everything then. But if they have all the time in the world and they want to really know the house, that's my job, is to teach them what's going on, the major concerns.
And there's some people by nature that are super curious. Like, they want to see everything you see. They want to be in there with you. And there's some things we can't let them do. Like, we can't let them get on the roof or following you in the attic or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're cool with them following you around, checking stuff.
If they're staying on the ground and they're just following around, just kind of tailing me, I mean, it's actually kind of fun, because I'll get to know them. I'll talk to them about some other things. Maybe not even house related. Maybe it's about moving to the area, bars and beers and stuff that I could recommend to them.
Which you can relate, because you're pretty new Tampanian, right? You were here from a couple years ago.
I am, and we have a great city and has a lot of stuff to do and talk about. So
I would have to concur as well, for sure. So where do you start on the home inspection? Like, once you've walked outside, you familiarize yourself with the property, you're kind of getting ready, the homeowner or the new potential homeowner is there. Where do you start in the inspection?
I start by taking pictures of the outside, and then I jump on the roof the first thing. I'll jump on the roof, try to guess how old it is, the condition of it based off of, what material it is, whether if it's asphalt shingles or if it's clay tile or
the open pipes, because rodents like to chew on the top of those.
Yeah, vent pipes.
All that sort of stuff.
Yes.
It's interesting because, when you're somebody like me, you've been doing this forever. You've been to a million home inspections. We know some of the stuff y'all are going to find. And so I'll see it when I'm walking through a property, and I'll just point it out. And there's a lot of stuff you find that I don't see because I'm not getting on the roof and crawling in the attic and all that kind of stuff. But, so talking about the roof, some of the things you look for are curling shingles, right? Soft spots in the roof.
Yeah, curling shingles, cracked shingles, soft spots on the roof. You can also tell the age of the roof based off of how many granulars are still present on the roof, which are granulars are the little fine asphalt beads that kind of protect the roof from UV light. And as the roof gets older, those granulars will eventually they'll fall off or they'll roll off or be washed away.
And the weather, I think, has a lot to do with why our roofs don't last so long, to your point, with the water
exactly
and
right.
the sun.
And the sun. And so as those granulars wear away, it's going to cause your roof to wear out faster, and then it's eventually going to cause it to leak. So it's amazing the difference between a new roof and a used roof and or an older roof. When I was first getting started, I was trying to figure out, I was like, how am I going to tell the difference? And after you've done a few, it's pretty easy to see, when a roof is old and needs to be replaced or a roof is pretty new.
So what's your background? What did you do before home inspections, and how long have you been doing this?
So before home inspections, I actually, my parents own a construction company up in North Carolina. And I was part of the project management team. And so I helped them. They were house flippers. And so I helped them to gut houses and to rebuild them, replacing kitchens, bathrooms, electrical, plumbing, and stuff like that.
So you've got that construction contractor background to begin with. We're going to take a break right there, Corey. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. We're with Corey Richardson today of Safeline Home Inspections. He's one of our partners, and we're talking all about home inspections, why you need one, why it matters. And I was asking about his background, and we'll continue that conversation when we come back in just a moment.
If you have a damaged windshield, keep your family safe with a premium quality replacement and a lifetime warranty from Auto Glass America. If you have comprehensive insurance, we'll buy back your old windshield for up to $100 cash on the spot. Come to you with free mobile service and install a new premium quality windshield, all at no cost to you. Be safe. Call today for fast claims processing. Remember, we turn your broken glass into cold hard cash. 813-96-GLASS. That's 813-96-GLASS.
Auto Glass America.
You're listening to Money Talk, Tampa Bay's business address, and listening is easy. You can hear it on the AM radio dial at 1010, and now on FM at 103.1, or with an HD radio at 99.5 HD2. Worldwide, log on to MoneyTalk1010.com and listen live. Or you can go to the App Store on your smartphone and download the free Money Talk 1010 app. Get legal information, investing advice, real estate information, and more on Money Talk 1010 AM and on FM at 103.1 and 99.5 HD2.
Hi, this is Aaron Davis, owner of Hillsborough Title. Hillsborough Title is a local, family-owned title agency here in Tampa Bay. Our service, strength, and knowledge make us different. We've served Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. From Polk County to the Gulf, Pasco to Manatee, Tampa Bay, we've got you covered. Call us at 813-712-8888, 712-8888, or visit us on the web at thebesttitle.com, thebesttitle.com. That's thebesttitle.com.
I'm Katrina Madewell with Keller Williams Realty and Tampa Home Talk, and for more than 23 years, we have been helping homeowners sell. Flexible terms with the rate to sell it yourself. Let my results speak.
They were able to get us a full price offer and a contract in our house in 9 days.
I just wanted to express my gratitude in finding a cash buyer for my property in less than 24 hours.
I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor. Call 813-777-1196. Thank you.
Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talk. Thank you for sticking with us through the break. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. If your first time catching the show, you're just tuning in. We're talking with Corey Richardson today of Sageline Home Inspections, and we're talking about home inspections and why you need one and why it matters and what you find and where you look for and all that stuff. So I was asking you before the break how you got started doing home inspections, because you were saying before that I wasn't sure how to tell if it was an old roof or a new roof, but you've been around construction your whole life.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So part of, the question, I've been in around construction my whole life. And so...
Did you start home inspections when you moved here to Tampa Bay?
I did not. So I worked for a general contractor, Hawkeye Construction, and they did a lot of renovations to, the Hooters and Square One Burgers, and learned a lot there as well. But working commercial construction and doing residential construction is it's a different animal altogether.
What are some of the certifications to be a home inspector?
Some of the certifications to be a home inspector.
Like they require state licensing now?
They do require state licensing. They require...
which this is pretty new. They didn't have this always.
I believe it was required... I believe it was 2010 where they first required licensing for home inspectors. And they also require insurance. And that's pretty much the only licenses.
Which that's really important. You want the guy climbing around on your roof to have insurance for sure.
Yeah. I actually have licensing, general liability, professional liability, and I am bonded too.
Perfect. So going back to the roof thing, I know we talk about shingle roofs a lot because that's the most common type that we have here. But what about, I'd like to talk about the lifetime metal roofs and also the tile roofs, because there's times when it's not safe to walk on those tile roofs, and you can actually do more damage than good when you're up there trying to do an inspection.
That's absolutely true.
And so talk about that. Like, how do you know when it's okay to walk on the roof and when it's not?
Typically, I don't walk on tile roofs for that purposes. You can get away with walking on a tile roof if you know exactly where to step, and you'll have to kind of judge it based off of the slope, the condition, what type of tile it is. If it's concrete tile, that's one thing. That's a lot heavier. It's probably less likely for something to happen if you walk on it, as opposed to
the clay tiles break super easy.
The clay tiles break super easy, so I would never walk on a clay tile roof.
So what about the metal roofs? Like, what's your thought on those? Because really, these are promoted as lifetime metal roofs. And in my experience, most of the time they are. Like, sometimes they can get ugly with rust and that sort of stuff.
So, yeah, the problem that happens with the metal roofs is usually the fasteners. Usually the fasteners, seals on the fasteners end up wearing out because it's just rubber most of the time. And that will be where your leak starts to happen. It's not going to be the metal itself. It's going to be the fasteners. So the roof that doesn't have the exposed fasteners will last a lot longer than the ones that have the ones with the screws that you can see.
So what about some of these, like, for example, my oldest son, he bought a home on the other side of Orlando, and his roof, actually, there's no attic access at all.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do in that particular instance when there's no attic access? And you can't, there's no attic. There's no way to access it.
I mean, the reality is you are limited on what you can inspect. I will still get on the top. A lot of times you can feel if there's soft spots by how you walk on it. Never fallen through a roof before,
my goodness,
which is a good thing. But I have stepped on a few questionable areas, and when you feel a weak spot on a roof, you'll know, and then more than likely there'll be a leak there. And the other key to it is if you're walking on the inside of the house and you look up and you see yellow stains on the roof, on the ceilings, more than likely that's a pretty good indicator that the roof has a sufficient leak.
Now, there's ways to test those, right, from the inside to test whether they're new versus old, or using a moisture meter, that sort of stuff on it, or using infrared, thermal.
So I have a moisture meter that I check, and that'll give you a pretty good indication on whether if it's an active leak or I would say maybe a passive leak, something that has been fixed before, and maybe they just didn't paint the ceiling, maybe they didn't replace the section of drywall that has been water damaged previously. It's probably, it's better than nothing, but it doesn't necessarily give you all of the information. But yeah, it will help you to determine whether if it's leaking right now or not.
So we're starting with the roof, and then we go inside. Do you go straight to the attic at that point, or you save that for last?
No, I try to hit the attics in the morning because it's a lot cooler. I've been in the attic.
Summer months.
I've been in the attics and at 3, 5 o'clock, and they're pretty brutal. So if I get to the inspection early in the morning, I'll hit the roof, and then I'll try to jump into the attic right away. Then again, it's the same thing. I'm looking for structural, so I'll be looking at the trusses. I'll be looking at the underside of the roof decking material for black spots, which is usually an indication of a water leak. I'll be looking for cut trusses. Sometimes homeowners will get in the attic and they'll try to be clearing out some extra storage space to store boxes, and so they'll just start cutting the trusses to try to make room for something.
So let's talk about that from a construction standpoint, because that's kind of a big deal. Like you're saying it like, oh, yeah, they just cut the trusses, but really that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely a red flag. It's something that I don't like seeing. It's never a good idea to cut a truss. These trusses are designed by engineers to support certain loads, and whenever you cut out the bracings in those trusses, you're basically weakening the integrity of the truss itself.
You're compromising the entire structure. And if you're getting a government loan, like an FHA or a VA or a USDA loan, when the appraiser comes out to do their visual inspection, one of the things they have to look at is in the attic. And so they don't do a thorough inspection like you do, but they'll do a 360 turn and take some photos. And if they see any notches or cutouts or anything like what you're talking about on the trusses, they will call for a
structural
certified
engineer.
Yep, and to basically re-support that structure to make sure that it doesn't compromise the integrity of the home. So that part's really, really important. And it's interesting that you say that, because you would think someone would not actually do that. And the other thing we see too, like with regards to homeowner maintenance, is don't pressure wash your roof. Like I've seen people do that.
My
no.
HOA sent me a letter a couple weeks ago saying that I have mildew stains on my roof and it needs to be pressure washed. And I sent them a letter back.
Are you kidding me?
No, I am serious. I sent them a letter back and said that, hey, if I pressure wash my roof, not only could I potentially lose the warranty on the shingles, but it's actually going to cause my roof to wear out a lot faster.
Yeah, you've taken, theoretically, I would say, and this is my guesstimate, you tell me if I'm right, 1 to 2 years off that roof, depending on how it's pressure washed?
It's very, very possible. If you use the pressure, you could just blast the shingles right off of it if you use too much pressure. Not to mention you're going to be walking on the roof.
That is such a liability for your HOA. I can't even believe they told you that.
They did.
Like, we're not going to throw them under the bus, but that is like, I can't even believe their attorneys let them send that out. Like,
and the worst part about it is, that everyone else in my neighborhood got that same letter. So
did you see people actually out there pressure washing their roof?
My neighbor actually hired someone to come out and pressure wash their roof. I've seen it. So
did you say anything? I would so have to say something.
Don't do it. At this point, what I'm going to say, he's already up on the roof. He's probably already paid the person. So.
Oh my gosh. So Nextdoor, I love Nextdoor. It's a neighborhood site, and a lot of neighbors have chatter there. It's kind of like the social neighbor networking site, but it's really good because people watch out for each other. I have teenagers, so it's come in really handy in trying to keep them under control. And as Lisa would say, it takes a village to raise your children these days, and it's absolutely the truth. So. Hopping back into the home inspections, when you go inside, what are some of the next things that you do once you've looked at the roof, once you've looked at the attic? What's the next thing you're going for?
Probably going to be the air conditioning, the heating and cooling systems of the house. Because I'm in the attic, a lot of our houses in Florida have the furnace and stuff is going to be in the attic. So I'll be checking that out as well when I'm doing the attic inspection, making sure the ductwork is intact. Usually the furnace is up there too, so I'll take a look at that, make sure the condensate drain lines are working correctly.
That's a big deal, because if you get a backup, which can happen very easily with this humid climate that we have, you don't want that water to go into the house, because then you're like, oh, do I have a roof leak? What is it? You don't know.
Yep, that's very true.
And so that's definitely an excellent point. And so the home inspections are interesting, and we're going to chat about those. We got to take a break shortly, but when we come back, we're going to talk about just what the layout of those are and how they vary a little bit from one section to the next, and what's a red flag and what isn't, because it looks kind of scary, right? Like, I would say, how many freaked out calls do you get from buyers after the inspection's done?
Usually with my clients, I don't get any freaked out.
Because you've already talked about how they might look a little freaky.
So they already have a pretty good understanding of what's going on.
And so after you look at some of those major components, what's next? You go into the hot water heater?
Hot water tank. I will inspect that, yeah. But typically after the attic inspection, I will jump to the electrical.
Okay. And that's a big deal here in Florida. We're seeing a lot of these older homes have these boxes that are now fire hazards, and you can't even get insurance if you have some of these certain boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Federal Pacific is one of them.
Yep.
Sylvania, certain ones. There's another one with a Z. I can't think of the name.
Zinsko.
That's it. And a few more. I know there's a list of like 5, I think.
There are 5.
Okay. So we'll tell you the other 2 maybe when we come back, when you listen to Tampa Home Talk. Stick around. We have to take a break for real. So we'll be back in just a moment.
Yes, we have to take a real break. Your traffic and weather is next. Motor vehicle or bicycle accident? Well, if you were injured because of someone else's negligence, the trial lawyers of Pop and Guyper Personal Injury Law Firm can help you out. Call them at 727-461-HELP, 727-461-4357, or log on to popandguype.com. Fallen Power Cables on Sheldon Road, north and southbound at Waters. We've got lane closures in both directions and detours in both directions, so just avoid Sheldon Road if you can. Anywhere between Gun Highway and Hillsborough Avenue. Pasadena, southbound at Central, watch out for a wreck. Overturned vehicle about an hour ago in Bryan Dairy around Belcher and Starkey. Still working that one, and a new one, Dr. King in Armenia. This report is brought to you by Kaufman Tires. When you walk into a tire store, do what you expect, or find what you expect. A state-of-the-art facility, expert technicians, the highest quality tires at the lowest price. Then find your closest location at KaufmanTire.com and come experience the difference. Kaufman Tire, the tire guys you can trust. Today's high in the mid-70s.
Live up for nonstop fun with 4 of your favorite Disney stories at Disney on Ice presents Worlds of Enchantment. Thrill to high-speed stunts as Lightning McQueen and the crew from Disney Pixar's Cars race across the ice. Dive into fantastic adventure with Ariel and the Little Mermaid's Undersea Kingdom. See Buzz Lightyear, Woody, and the Toy Story Gang escape Sunnyside Daycare in their most daring adventure. And enter the wintry world of Disney's Frozen with Anna, Elsa, and Olaf as they learn true love comes from within. Plus, get warmed up for the show with moves taught by the mouse that started it all at Mickey's Dance Along Pre-Show. From Wheels to Waves, Icy Wonderlands to Infinity and beyond, your family's favorite Disney moments come to life live in your hometown.
Tickets are on sale now. Playing Amalie Arena March 24 through 26. Get tickets for you and your family today. For full show information, visit DisneyOnIce.com.
Hey, I'll tell you something. We've been working really hard, and I'm really tired, but I'm glad that beautiful Royal Caribbean cruise.
I need a massage, please.
I've taken a lot of them.
Ugh.
I'm really excited about this one. So instead of 2,200 people I took last year, I decided to rent a bigger ship.
Huger.
Yeah. 3,400 Kia owners here.
And you actually are on the ship with us, Billy. It's not like you're just saying you're going to do it. You come and hang out with us.
100.
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk about being huge. 3,400. Wow.
And this ship is amazing. The Navigator of the Seas has so many fun things to do. There's clubs, there's bars. Why do I keep naming the things that you drink at? There's restaurants, there's ice skating, there's shops, there's surfing, all kinds of pools. So many amazing things to do here. Rock climbing, casino, and you can join us. Just come in and
purchase
purchase
a chance of a lifetime. Don't miss it. All over Florida, they're talking about this trip. Come in and purchase your lease from Facilio Kia. We're going to make it huge, Florida, huge.
There's a brand new daily hour of fun and information on Money Talk 1010. Hi, this is Mason Dixon from the morning show, not only on Q105, but now a morning show on Mason Dixon Wide Open with Charlie the Sarge Oaks. And we get crazy every day from 11 to noon on our show, talking about just about anything. I want you to check us out Monday through Friday and join us for some conversation. Because it's not only what's on our mind, it's what's on your mind as well. You can put your 2 cents worth in, even if it's worth way more than that. We always keep the phone lines open, 1-888-404-1010. And no subject is out of bounds. Well, you got to keep it clean. We do family stuff here. Now, the Sarge and I are both motorheads, so we do car talk. We've got a special segment that runs in the show every day. So if you're into cars, we got it for you. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Mason Dixon, Wide Open with the Sarge.
sticking around. We're glad that you're here. If you're just now catching us, we're available on 1010 AM, 99.5 HD2, and also 103.1 FM. Thank you to some of our new listeners over there. We've gotten some FM listeners hop on over into Talk Radio, Corey, because we've added that FM channel. It's exciting, isn't it?
That's awesome, yeah.
So today's show is all about home inspections, why you need one, why it matters, what kind of stuff can you find in there, and all of that sort of stuff. And so before the break, we were actually talking about some of those faulty electrical panels. And one of the things that we were talking about is we're going to actually do a blog post and talk about those a little bit more, because it's kind of more in depth than we can talk about in a few minutes. But it's one of those ones when you see them, you're like, oh, yep, that one's faulty. Me as a listing agent, that's one of the things that I do too. I go and I look at the box and I know right away. That way I can ward that off for when the buyer's inspection comes. And then, it's one less challenge or problem we'll face later.
Absolutely. Probably the biggest thing is why these panels are bad is because they've been known to generate heat, which then obviously can catch on fire. And when you're looking at
and there were lawsuits, right, for a lot of these companies, which is what put them out of business, which is why the insurance companies won't insure them.
That's why the insurance companies won't insure them, because they've been known to catch on fire and cause fires to the house. So the question I always get is, why do these panels get hot? Why are they bad? A lot of the times it's because of the connection problems. What people don't know is that when electricity does not have a good connection, it has to it'll end up heating up the surfaces in order to pass from one conductor to the other. And whenever you're having that heat up, it's going to cause melting problems. It's going to cause the wires to, basically ignite. And then that's what the problem is. So these electrical panels, these boxes, have been identified as having poorly designed breaker connection functions, which cause them to be on the naughty list.
So a little bit off topic, but give me a war story. Like, give me something crazy that you've seen in a home inspection and you're like, wow.
Okay. So I just did a home inspection a couple weeks ago, and it was a really, really nice house, probably 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms with a pool. It had a upper deck balcony, and then underneath the balcony was kind of like a patio area. And when I was looking at the pool, I kind of looked up and I saw the beam for that balcony, and it appears to be kind of sagging a little bit. So, I'm thinking, that's interesting. So then I go in and take a closer look, and I look at the beam, and I see that there's, rust spots. They look kind of like a mustard orange stains that it's kind of like on the wood, or it's covered in stucco. So mustard stain, which is usually means there's rust. Either there's metal in there, and water's been getting into it, and it's been eating it out. So I was like, okay, that's another red flag. So it's sagging, and then I see stains on it. So then I look at the railing above, and I shake it, and so obviously the railing above that beam is also very loose. So that means that the screws that were holding the railing to that beam aren't really connected to anything.
And you're standing on the balcony
shaking
this?
I'm standing on the balcony shaking it, which we got to go places where, I wouldn't recommend other people to go. That's part of my job. But, I know how far I can push the limits, whereas, my clients don't. So
what happens when you're shaking this and now you realize it's loose?
I realize, okay, so this is definitely this is definitely what I would consider a defect that needs to be fixed, major concern. So then the last test that I do is I take a screwdriver, I go underneath it, and then I try to, see like, well, how bad is this beam actually, rotted out? And so I have a 6-inch screwdriver, and I stick it, and it goes all the way into the beam. So that means that whole beam has been compromised, and that's not a good thing.
So this is a support beam actually holding the structure up.
It's a support beam that's holding the second story, like, balcony porch up.
Have you ran into any of these really old homes with a knob and tube electrical?
I have seen the knob and tube, but luckily the knob and tube has been replaced at that point.
A lot of them are gone by this point for sure. Yeah. So diving into the home inspection report, it's pretty neat the way these are laid out. You'll see like a report summary in the beginning of the home inspection, and it'll talk about, different things. And usually those are highlighted, right? You'll highlight them in yellow and in red. And what's the difference in those?
So I try to keep my inspection report as simple as possible. So red are major concerns, yellow are potential safety hazards or, potential problems that, would need to be addressed more urgently. And then white is just something that, hey, this is what I found. You might want to consider upgrading or, doing this to it.
And so some of the things, like, for example, the yellow, those may be just regular maintenance issues.
Exactly.
Right? So some of the things that we'll see pretty often, a lot of the homes here in Florida, they don't have gutters.
Mm-hmm.
So the builders cheap out. They don't put the gutters on it. And then you'll see almost like this little water trench on the side of the house.
Yep.
That's a bad sign.
Yep. And you don't want water to pool next to your foundation. What that'll cause is it could cause foundation issues. And, most houses in Florida are built on sand anyway, and so whenever you have a lot of water next to your house, it's going to cause it to settle even faster. So
we tell people all the time that water is not your house's friend.
Water is nothing's friend.
So you want to route it. Well, we need it, but we need it to live. But you want to route it away from your house. There's a number of things, and if it's pooling, like we've seen, I have a listing that I know is coming up in a couple months, but the siding is wood on the side of the house, and because where that water just pours from the pitch of the roof and splashes back onto the side of the house, all of that wood siding is rotten. And so this is one of the things that I look for when I go in to talk about a potential listing. And sometimes people are ready, they're not quite ready. They're, they might be trying to figure out some other dynamics before they ever even put their home on the market. And so many, many times that first appointment may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 months ahead of the time that they actually plan to sell the home. And so a lot of that is preparation time.
Yeah.
And we, on homes like that, I'm going to see a lot of things, and I'm certainly going to point those out and recommend them. But one of the things we like to recommend to our sellers too is a pre-listing home inspection.
Absolutely. Doing a pre-listing home inspection will allow me to inspect the house and to give you an idea of what are some things that people are going to want to get fixed. But when they have their buyers come in and look at the property. A lot of times if there are some major issues, anything with the roof, plumbing system, electrical system, heating and air conditioning, if there are major issues with those, they won't be able to get insurance from that property, which means that if they are getting a loan for a house, they won't be able to insure it, which means they won't be able to actually go through with and buy the house.
Right. So if you have one of those flagged electrical panels that we were talking about, you won't be able to get new insurance.
Nope.
Even though sometimes the seller is grandfathered in under their policy, they may not have asked for an updated what they call 4-point and or wind mitigation. So talk about those inspections and what those are. And it's a normal part of the inspection process. A lot of people don't realize that there's actually 4 different inspections that normally happen during a home inspection.
Yeah. So probably the most common one that I'll end up upselling would be the wind mitigation inspection. And it's not really upselling. Like, I just want to pause you there for a second. And from your perspective, it might be upselling, but really you're going to be saving the homeowner a lot of money, especially if that home's had a new roof and some newer components. That's true. So the reason you want to get a wind mitigation inspection done is to save money on your homeowner's insurance policy by allowing me to do the wind mitigation inspection. I'll be making a different report and alerting them about what are you looking for in that inspection? Yeah, what's installed on the house that will qualify for some discounts.
So what are you looking for? You're looking for the roof? You're looking for the tie downs, the hurricane straps?
So the biggest thing is a permanent roof and metal tie down straps that have 3 nails in them. And that's the key. If you have metal straps and it's only got 2 nails, you don't get the discount for it.
Isn't that crazy? Like, you could have a contractor literally go up there and add a couple of nails, and big difference.
You can save $200-$300 on your homeowner's insurance.
And it's the way insurance has done it since 2004 with all those hurricanes we had back to back is they don't insure like they used to. So they go out and they give you the full, like, this is the premium. And if you want the discount, then you have to prove how and where you should get the discount.
Yes.
It's kind of like they've changed how they've done that.
Yeah, and then they've changed the wind mitigation form twice already. And so now they're on their second form, and most insurance companies will require you to get that wind mitigation done every 5 years, just to make sure that the house is still in pretty good shape.
Everything's up to snuff. They don't want to pay a roof claim.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so your 4-point, what are you looking for in those inspections?
So the 4-point covers the roof, the plumbing system, the electrical system, and the heating and air conditioning system. Those are the 4 things that, the homeowner's insurance is going to cover on the report. And so they want to make sure that those systems are in good shape before they will want to cover the property.
And it's interesting, too, because not only do you guys check those out, like you're checking to make sure they're functioning as intended, but some of the things you look for that the layperson wouldn't know, and let's say if someone's paying cash and they're opting to do a self-inspection, right? Like we hate when people do that. And it's not because we can't refer them, it's because we know they're going to miss some stuff. But you guys check the temperature differential, too, to make sure that it's heating and cooling the way that it should be.
Absolutely. So we're looking for a 16 to 20 degree difference between the air that's coming into the furnace and the air that's coming out of the furnace or air conditioning system. And based on that number alone, you can determine whether if it is functioning properly or not.
Another thing we see a lot, too, is like on the, going back to the no gutter issue, we see a lot like on the side garage doors, on the front of the garage doors, the side paneling on the upper story of the roof, like I was talking about, where the water splatter literally starts to rot it away, and it attracts a certain type of termite. So it's a really important thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, if I see any trim or any wood that is actually touching the ground, I always kind of alert that as a red flag, especially here in Florida where termites are a pretty big issue with a lot of,
right.
our structures, older or newer.
And if you're getting an FHA or a VA loan, they're going to be looking for the termite inspection, and the termite inspector is going to call that out.
Yep.
And more than likely, it's going to have to be spot treated and repaired before they will even give you a government loan.
Yep, that's right.
So you're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Do we have some special discounts lined up, Corey, for our listeners if they want to get a pre-listing home inspection or if they want to hire you for their home inspection, whether they're our client or not? Do you have a little bonus you can give them if they mention Tampa Home Talk?
Yeah, if they mention Tampa Home Talk, I'll take $50 off of an inspection.
All right. So even if you're just listening and you think you might want to get a wind mitigation inspection or a 4-point, maybe you've replaced your roof, your electrical, your HVAC, get some discounts from your homeowner's insurance. This is Katrina Madewell. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. We're here with Corey Richardson, Safeline Home Inspections. We'll be back in just a moment.
For joining us on Tampa Bay's Business Address, Money Talk 1010, and on FM at 103.1. There are shows to help you understand finances and everything that affects your ability to earn a living. Business Rockstars, Monday through Friday morning from 5 to 7, is a fast-paced show with today's rockstar entrepreneurs. Tampa Bay's financial planner Michelle Osborne and Q105 afternoon personality Flash Morgan take the mystery out of investing every Friday morning at 8. Local attorneys Dave Papa and Stan Geip have teamed up with state-of-the-art automobile repairman and expert witness Dan Cooley Mondays at 8 for Rights and Repairs, an entertaining and informational show about your legal rights and the science of auto repair. Thanks for listening to all of our shows about subjects from real estate to financial planning to relationships in this fast-paced century and more. Tell your friends to join you on Money Talk 1010 and on FM at 103.1 and 99.5 HD2.
High tech to low tech, 2 employees to thousands. Today's business rockstar happens in all kinds of businesses, from big cities and small towns. Whether you're a business rockstar now, working to be one, or want to be one, the Business Rockstar Show is your daily stop for an injection of creative energy. You're up early to get your business ahead of everyone else, and Business Rockstars is there with you every weekday morning from 5 till 7. Business Rockstars at 1010 on the AM dial and on FM at 103.1.
Let's face it, having a criminal arrest record really stinks, and it hurts when others make unfair judgments about you. Employers, landlords, lenders, even the person you may want to date. Take down this number, 813-254-9205. Attorney Jim Souza has sealed and expunged arrest records for more than 20 years. Go to restoremyname.net or call 813-254-9205.
Are you looking for your next home? The truth is that most buyers want a home, not a real estate agent. I understand, but facts Actually, you need an experienced agent on your team like me. I'm Katrina Madewell with
Keller Williams Realty,
host of Tampa Home Talk, and I've been in the real estate and mortgage industry selling homes for more than 23 years. And it would be our pleasure to help you find your next home. Love where you live, or I'll fix it. Welcome home. 813-936-2302. 813-936-2302.
Traffic in the Tampa Bay area is among the worst in the nation, with the average commute about an hour a day. If anything goes wrong, you can double it. Do your part to help by being a Money Talk Traffic Ranger. Call us if you see traffic problems at 888-404-1010. Listen to traffic on Money Talk at 1010 a.m. or on FM at 103.1 and 92.1. Call the Money Talk Traffic Ranger line, 888-404-1010. Tampa Bay's best traffic at 1010 a.m. or on FM at 103.1. Call us, 888-404-1010.
To Tampa Home Talk. Thank you so much for rejoining us. Again, our special guest for today's show, talking all about home inspections, is Corey Richardson with Safeline Home Inspections. And I know we didn't put a timeline attached to it, but roughly, how long can someone expect a home inspection to be, and how much will they pay for that roughly?
So generally, the home inspection takes about 2 hours long, and the price ranges, but the average home inspection is probably around $350.
And then the 4-point in the wind mitt's a little extra?
That's a little bit extra, so it'd be an extra $100 for that.
Perfect. And a couple hours, you say?
Generally, at least a minimum of 2 hours. Could be longer, depends on the size of the house and what's wrong with it.
And is it 2-story? Is it 1-story? Does it have a pool? How much stuff are you inspecting?
There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot that I inspect on them. So sometimes it's hard to really tell.
Corey, we really have appreciated having you on as our guest. How can someone reach you off air?
You could call my cell phone.
You can call or text.
Call
Corey.
or text me 813-777-8851.
Again, that number is 813-777-8851.
Yep.
And just mention Tampa Home Talk or my name, Katrina Madewell, and Corey will hook you up. I want to tell you about a couple properties that we have. A few of these have just either re-entered the market or about ready to hit the market, or already they just went live. We have HIP Futures in Easton Park. That one is a newly approved short sale. Our buyer has moved on, and we have it bank approved for $170. It's an amazing home, brand new Tampa area. We also have a home in South Tampa. This is a condo for $215, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Grand Key. We have that listed for just $215. That's going to go really quickly, I'm sure. We also have a rental on Autumnshire, 5537 Autumnshire Drive, and then also Century Palm, which is a fantastic community if someone's looking to pay cash for something around that $60,000 mark. It's a great property you can pick up without any restrictions and that sort of stuff. And then we have this Fishhawk property, Corey. I don't know how this thing hasn't moved yet. It's a townhome, but I think that's what it is. And you can't find anything in Fishhawk for this price, but this thing is $190. And it's technically 2 bedrooms, and it's a townhome, and I think that's why it's missing the radar. But it's got a 2-car garage. It's got a whole loft area that can be made into a 3rd bedroom if someone wanted to. And it's amazing. It's a great property, and that's available for rent or for sale. And then Forest Hills, this property, our property we've sold like 10 times. Last cash buyer literally spent his money, didn't have the money to close. If you can believe that stuff happens, it does. That one's approved for $141. So we got some great deals out there, and there's a lot of new stuff coming up that's not yet on the market. If you'd like me to come do a room-by-room review for you and let you know some of the things you need to do to get your home ready to put it on the market, we'll give you all the time you need. And I always tell people, don't worry about tidying up for that first appointment. It's just me, and it doesn't count. And I think that makes people feel a little bit easy. And, the way you live in your home and the way you sell it are totally different. I think most people would agree to that. Right, Corey? You have a little one, so
yeah,
I'm sure you can relate to that one. But what we're going to do a lot of times when we prepare a home for sales, depersonalize, declutter. We're going to do what I call the 3 Ps: pre-plan, pre-pack, and purge. So we're
Yeah.
going to get rid of a lot of that stuff. We're going to pack anything you're not going to need between now and the next couple months while we get the property on the market and for sale. And our off-air number, if you'd like to reach me, I would love to come meet you. And if you hear the commercials, I say all the time that I want to be your realtor. I do. And I really want you to love where you live. If it's time to move up, move down, move out, I would like to be your girl. And my off-air number is 813-936-2302. I'd love to have the opportunity to meet you and check out your home. Again, that number is 813-936-2302 if I can help you move in, move out, or move up. And also, one of the things I want to do is give a special thank you and a shout out to our show partners. And we have Barrel Engineering, Safeline Home Inspections, which we have the pleasure of having Corey Richardson in the studio with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for going over all the little tidbits for the home inspection. We appreciate you. And if it weren't for people like Corey, we wouldn't be able to put on Tampa Home Talk because it costs money to get us out over those airwaves there. And also Jim Souza, one of our attorney partners, Aaron Davis, Hillsborough Title, Aaron Neese, HN Wealth Management, Sarah Cricky with the mortgage firm. She's been with us since the beginning. Sarah, any of our customers that have worked with us over the years, they know her. And if I always tell them if they like me, you'll love her because she works exactly like I did when I was on the mortgage side. Darren Mish, I'm here every Thursday morning with Darren Mish at 8 a.m. He is one of our partners, and I do co-host the IRS Solution Attorney Show with Darren Mish. And if you have an IRS problem, he is your guy. Let me tell you, you got to listen to those stories every week. So if you don't have a chance to listen to the whole show, at least tune in for Darren's show like the last 8-10 minutes because that's where we have the train wreck of the week with all kinds of amazing information and these crazy stories. Like people come in a hot mess, like they owe $2 million in taxes to the IRS, and Darren will fix it for $5,000, something silly. Like I don't even know how he does it, but he's a rock star at it. And Samantha Taylor, we appreciate you. She does a 6 weeks total body transformation challenge, and Lisa and I are knee deep in the middle of that now. We're getting her strong. We're hitting the gym 3 times a week. And really, you'll see some amazing results with some of those girls. They teach you how to re-eat and how to just clean stuff up. And some of it's kind of complex. So if I say, ketogenic, you're like, what? But it's on the order of low carb. So cut out a lot of the carbs and the sugars. Some of the stuff you already know, but it's really a way on how we can revamp some of the stuff. So it's been a fun show today, Corey.
I have had a lot of fun.
Are you as nervous as you were when you started?
No, I am not as nervous as
you ready to go for a second hour?
I don't know about that.
We can't kick business rock stars off anyway, so stick around for them. They'll be back next. And then you have Charlie the Sarge Oaks and Mason Dixon up at 11. They're always in for a great show. They'll talk about the politics that I won't, as well as the cars and all that other fun stuff. And I want to give a special thanks to Lisa Robbins for putting the show together, Pat George for producing it, and Roxanne Wilder. I leave her out a little bit too much, little Roxanne. She, anytime we have a pre-recorded show, she is like the chick behind the magic, and Pat George is probably watching a movie or something. But Pat, I want to say thank you, not to take anything away from you, and also Roxanne. We appreciate you guys. Remember, love where you live, or I'm gonna fix it. Our off-air number is 813-936-2302. 813-936-2302 will get you connected with Corey or any one of our show partners that I mentioned. Again, you can call us at 813-936-2302. We appreciate you. Love where you live, or I'm going to fix it. Welcome home.
'Cause it's a long, long way from home. There's no reason to belong. How we end up here at all. And I think it's time to think it's time to think it's time to.
The preceding program was paid for by Katrina Madewell. The views and opinions expressed on this program were those of Katrina Madewell and not those of Beasley Media Group, this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers.
Tampa Bay's business address is Money Talk 1010 AM and available on HD at 99.5 HD2. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Money Talk 1010 AM. Tampa Bay's Business Address. Tampa Bay's Business Address is Money Talk 1010 and on FM at 103.1. There are shows to help you understand finances and everything that affects your ability to earn a living. Local Florida registered investment advisor Gary Kaltbaum is a Fox News and Fox Business Channel contributor. He brings his expertise to Money Talk 1010 every weekday on his show Investor's Edge from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and repeated the following day at 1 p.m. Tampa attorney Darren Mish is an expert in tax law, and his show IRS Solution every Thursday morning at 9 goes into the questions you need to have answered about the tax man. At 11 every Wednesday evening, be sure to join Mark the Legal Man Charles for the always fun and exciting Outside Interference Wrestling Show. Thanks for listening to all of our shows about real estate, financial planning, and everything that affects your life. Tell your friends to join you on Money Talk 1010 and on FM at 103.1 and 99.5 FM HD2.
WHFS Sefner, WQYK FM HD2 St. Petersburg, 103.1 W276CX Newport Richey.